Hi everyone, porch video here, changing it up. Love to be outside, especially because now it's cooler weather here in the Keys. I want to share with you something I did that has moved the needle forward and alleviated some guilt and some of the shoulds that the majority of people are facing out there in the land of entrepreneurship. And I'm hopeful that you watched my last episode with my husband, Ryan Van Fleet, where we dug into guilt and the frequency scale around guilt and what that means. And also where I shared the story about not feeling guilty about something that I should be doing. So I didn't have any guilt for not feeling guilty, which created like this whole other swirl of, feeling guilty for not feeling guilty. So anyhow, but what I want to share today is the journey of my podcasting and what that looks like now. So if you've been following me for quite a while, you know that I started podcasting in April of 2019, the Good Karma Success Coach, and my podcasting journey has been off the charts. I don't really know if anyone else has had such a weird podcasting journey as myself, quite frankly. I had 2 podcasts at one time running for years. One was very sales focused because I was a sales rep for a long time and was very successful, so I shared about that. And then the other one was more of a spiritual entrepreneurship vibe where I did more interviews with people and shared more tips and tools about like manifestation, law of attraction, energy, intuition, etc. So anyhow, so quite a journey. I actually probably need to write a blog about all of it. Anyhow, so what ended up happening is, again, if you have been with me for quite a while, you know that in August, I decided to put the podcasting piece of my social media content on pause and really make a more concerted effort to just focus on YouTube. And if I can upload the podcast, then I'll upload the podcast, but I'm not trying to be on that every Sunday morning hamster wheel. And that's really what it boiled down to, was every Sunday morning I felt this pressure to have my podcast go out. And again, referencing the last YouTube video that I did with my husband, he talked about that too, that he was under a lot of pressure to always put out a new podcast. And it led to a lot of guilt if he didn't get it done, because honestly, we're not professional podcasters. We just do this to share and build community. And if it also leads into business for us, then that's amazing. We're not like those other people out there that are professional YouTubers and professional podcasters. That's not our business model. So anyhow, so he had some guilt around not podcasting every single week. And he still doesn't podcast every single week. It may be like every week and a half or 2 weeks. And the podcast time span between this podcast that I'm talking about with my husband about guilt and our one that we did previously, which was about PTSD, was 3 weeks. And initially I thought, we'll be able to podcast together on the YouTube, once a week. And even though we work together and I see him all the time, it just wasn't happening. Like we just were like, it takes a little bit of an organization for us to like be ready and do it. So it took 3 weeks. So anyhow, so what I noticed in August was when I stopped the podcasting piece, which is the loading to Libsyn, being ready for a Sunday morning launch, all the things that you have to do with it, which really aren't a challenge. It's just stuff. I felt this huge pressure release. Like, oh my gosh, this huge release of pressure from that one little thing, right? That one little thing with like that I have to have a podcast and it has to go out every Sunday morning. So I'm going to cry bunk on that whole thing because I think it's just very outdated. I think coaches that are still promoting that you have to consistently send out a newsletter like every Tuesday morning, I think those days are long gone, because there's so much content out there now that people really don't have the bandwidth to consume your content when you think they're going to consume it. So my best advice in general is to just show up consistently on some type of basis, right? So where I'm going with this is in August then, when I said no more to the podcasting piece of the wake up call, and I would just focus on YouTube. I have a butterfly out there. Aw. That I also knew I wanted to get back to writing more. So I'm a freelance writer. I write for the local paper down here almost 5 years. And I also write other blogs. Sometimes I help my husband with some blogs. There's a couple blogs on his website, the Fishbooker blog, the Trash blog. Those are blogs that I've contributed to. I help with our content in general. I help with the courses, the sales pages, all of those things. But I wanted to get back to being a blogger on medium.com. And medium.com is something that I started in February of 2020, so right before COVID. I actually was working with a private coach one-on-one who is a writer herself. She's written many, many books, and she's also a big podcaster. And she had suggested to me, she was like, you know what, you might like medium.com. So in February 2020, I got on medium.com. So I have had quite a journey on medium.com, and I love the platform. I just really love it. I love the userability. I love that I can see my stats. I love the community. I love just in general, like the articles that are on the platform. They don't allow AI. So if you're someone that is also on LinkedIn like myself and you're getting completely annoyed by the amount of AI posts and also commenting that is going on LinkedIn, and I did a whole podcast about that called I Was Catfished, and I'll put the link for that in the notes for this one. But you can't even be on social media anymore because they are likely not even who they are proclaiming to be. And then you go to hire them, and you just hired someone who has been posting with 100% AI content, and you have no idea if they really have the skill set to help you. You really need to think about that. Or you're trying to create relationships in the comments and they're AI generated. It's actually mind-blowing. So I feel like happier in my soul to go back to medium.com and really spend more time there. So what does that look like? That looks like about once a week, if I can get to 2 to 3 times a week, I'm submitting a blog on medium.com. And it's such a cool platform because I can share it to social media. There's friend links, or there's, you get paid actually, believe it or not like tons of money, but it's fun to get, a couple bucks for people like reading your blogs and see how that tallies up over time. I think now you get paid every 3 months or something. So there's different parameters, but I don't really focus that much on it. When it appears in my bank account, I'm like, that's really cool. It just costs me $5 a month to be on that platform. And I really, really enjoy the articles. So my point in sharing that is I'm actually having more fun. I'm having more fun writing a blog when I feel called to write. And I have ideas that flow through me all the time. I fill up journals like crazy because my channel is so open, and this is what I help people with. So I have ideas and things that just come to me that I'm always like, oh, I could write a blog about this. Oh, I could write a blog about that. Oh, I could do a video about that. But writing is just such an easy thing to do because I don't have to worry about hair and makeup. I don't have to worry about lighting. I don't have to worry about someone hearing me, like our neighbors outside. I don't have to worry about any of that. I can just sit at my computer, write, pick a picture from Pexels, which is free, and submit it to one of the amazing publications. And 9 times out of 10 they publish it within like a day or so. So it's actually super cool. And again, you can get paid. So it's just a really fun experience for me that has completely changed my outlook. And I'm sharing this because I'm really hopeful that you will look at something that you're doing in your life or your business, especially you're an entrepreneur, that isn't lighting you up, that you feel like it's a chore, and then you feel guilty that you're not doing it, that you're not showing up consistently like everyone says that you should be doing, because you're just not feeling it. You're just not feeling it. And I want you to give yourself permission to change. Give yourself permission that you can change, that you can tweak it. Heck, I gave myself permission. It was kind of embarrassing a little bit, because I'm like, gosh, I've been doing this podcast thing for 5.5 years and it hasn't gotten anywhere. I've done the guesting, I've been a guest, I've done all the things, I've joined groups, I've joined communities, I've sat on Zoom calls, I've filled out Google Docs up the yin yang, I get emails about be a podcast guest, and I read them, and I do that for months, and I've done summits, and all the things. And you know what? It's fine. I still like podcasting, but that's just probably not like my path, and that's what's important. So if you are crushing it in the podcasting world, kudos. That's likely more your path. My path is likely more writing, or maybe my path really hasn't even evolved yet, because I'm just now starting to focus more on the YouTube. Like, I don't really know, but I'm going with it, and I'm open to the potential, and I'm showing up. So I found a way for me to show up that I feel really good about, and that's super important. Found a way for me. I let go of the need to do this every Sunday morning because some coach says that you should be consistent and you should pick a day of the week and this is what you should do. I just don't believe that to be true, so I don't subscribe to that. And we're not subscribing to that with Good Karma Sport Fishing and Coaching either, in terms of also newsletters. We both have newsletters, and also his content, such as his YouTube and podcast. So I think it's just really important for people to get a handle on that and get a grip on that, so they can alleviate some of this swirl, some of the distractions, and the guilt that people are bringing on themselves for this, for what? Really, for what? So you can give away free knowledge? Think about that. Think about that. Think about how many people, like, I'm actually always fascinated when I watch people's YouTube videos and I see that they have thousands of subscribers. Then they have thousands of people viewing their content, and they have like such a small fraction of likes. I'm one of those. I do like people's video though, so I'm not that person, but I am the person that notices that, and I am the person that has people watch the video and you can't click the like. So it's just what's going on out there. So don't get yourself wrapped up in some should if it doesn't feel good for you. If it doesn't feel good for you, you need to adjust your content creation, your business model, your relationships, your health, all those things, so they work for you and you're not a slave to it. So I want to share one more tip that I did very consciously that I never heard anyone talk about before, and this came to me intuitively, so I'm going to share it with you. So I wanted to figure out a way to hold myself accountable to getting back on Medium. So again, this was in August that I stopped the podcast, and I wrote an article on Medium to kind of kick it all back in and shared that story. So that was in August. So what I ended up doing is I went to my website, melindavanfleet.com, because I'm always sharing about my website. It's my website. I own it. So I do encourage people to have a website as their home base. And I added on the front page a section, because I know how to do my own website, like 95% of the things. So I added on the home page a section about writing, that I'm also a freelance writer. Because honestly, number one, if you looked at my website, you wouldn't even know I was a writer. People would like say, oh, have you thought about writing a book before? I'm like, I've written 2. I have 2 books on Amazon. And I'll put the link in. But Amazon, I have 2 books. They're also on Audible in my voice. I recorded them. in 2021. So anyhow, so most people, they go to my website, they didn't even know I was a writer. They didn't even know I wrote books. So they certainly didn't know I had a blog on Medium or that I wrote for the local paper. So I added this section, but when I put the link in there for Medium, I realized like, well, I'm kind of an imposter because I haven't been writing on Medium for a while. It had been months. So that kicked my butt from my own accountability. It fired me up that I was like, okay, if I'm going to have this on the home page of my website, this section about being a writer, I better be showing up and having at least once a week an article on medium.com to show that I am a writer. So find your own motivation that is in alignment with your business, that helps you grow your business and that you feel good about. And if you need help with that, these are the things that I help people with. This is my zone of genius. I am a holistic coach, so I understand how to help people with this without putting people in a box. And I would love to help you with your challenges too, because your challenges can end up being some of your biggest successes. And I believe in you. So if you wish to work together, just go to my website, melindavanfleet.com. You can go to the Work Together page and see my offers of what I'm currently offering, and send me an email. We'll go from there. So in the meantime, thanks for watching. I would love a subscription and a like and a comment if something in this video really called to you. Again, thanks for watching. Bye.